Now that we have the explicit response tasks set up, it's time to move to outcomes questions. Before we actually go to that page, let me explain a little bit about what they are. Outcomes questions are questions like purchase or purchase interest, or you'll see some of the ones that we have standard in our studies that represent what you want your associations to produce for your stimuli of interest. You want the associations to lead to higher value for your SOIs, or you want people to purchase your SOIs, or have a strong purchase interest for your SOIs. So you'll want to submit outcome questions, which we again have by default in our system, and I'll explain what those are when we get there. So let me just go there and you can see a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So the outcomes questions that we have in a standard survey are reflected here, and you'll have some fields and some text that you can enter in, that you'll have to enter in. We have 3 ones by default, and if you want to change them for your studies, that's a supplemental cost. We've looked at a number of these types of studies and think that these 3 outcomes questions are the best types of outcomes questions to have as your dependent variables, if you will, in the studies. So here are 3 outcomes questions. First of all, we say to people, if you are in a situation where you had to select one of these 3, and then what you'll do is you'll insert whatever the category is here. So I'm going to say nutrition bars, since this is a nutrition bar study. Notice that nutrition bars also populates where appropriate in the other outcomes questions. So again, if you were in a situation where you had to select one of these 3 nutrition bars, which one would you select first, second, and third? Now, know that anyone responded is evaluating only 3 of the SOIs that you have in your study. So then we move on to a question which is a constant sum question about how much money people would spend on each of the SOIs that they're evaluating. So for the nutrition bars, we're going to give people $25, and again, that populates in the appropriate places. So this second question reads, now imagine that you have $25. How much of that $25 would you spend on each of the nutrition bars below? And we remind people that the total must add to 25. This is a constant sum question. And again, it represents the value that is placed on each of the SOIs that are being evaluated. More money on each nutrition bar here, or whatever your SOI is, means a higher value. The third question we have works in a little bit of social influence. Finally, if you had to predict how people in general would select these 3 nutrition bars, which one do you think people in general would select first, second, and third? So again, this is standard, and we kind of force this on our clients in their studies. If you do want to customize your own outcomes questions, we can do that for you. That's a supplemental cost, which we'll get to a little bit later. Given that, you will hit the submit button, and you'll have the text for your outcomes questions all programmed into the survey. So we'll move on in the next video.